Welcome back to GBGuns, another video from DoubleStar headquarters. I'm here with Nick, also sometimes referred to as Pew Pew from the Pew Pew and Stabby Show. If you haven't seen that or listened to it on the podcast, you're missing out. Great personalities here at DoubleStar, which of course is part of why I'm here, but what drew me in the first place were the great guns.
Right.
And I haven't shot, and this is, as you guys know, I'm not pay for play. There's no prostitution on my channel. I give you real opinions. Every DoubleStar I've shot, which has been quite a few of them, has impressed the snot out of me. Just been super smooth, super manageable, super accurate. Whatever purpose that rifle was intended for was what that thing did.
Right.
And well, as you guys may or may not know, there's a lot of AR companies out there. Not a lot of them are building 100% of the gun there in shop. A lot of stuff comes from different places. And
I don't know that anybody does 100% of the gun in-house.
That's probably true. The detents. I blame the detents.
The springs and the detents, that came from Fastenal like everybody else.
Yeah. But it seems like, I mean, it's easy enough to go, I mean, we've all done them building our own guns. Grab a barrel, grab a handguard, grab some receivers, slap them together, and it kind of works or kind of doesn't, or it ends up mediocre. Mediocre is not something I've seen here.
No.
Where's that come from? What is it you guys are doing that home builders aren't?
Well, something that people don't realize, or maybe they do realize, is that DoubleStar started out as J&T Distributing. The same people that own J&T Distributing started in '78, I think. Now on DoubleStar, and for the first 20 years the company was around, we bought other people's parts and resold them. We were a distributor, just like the name says, and in that time we kind of learned what was good parts, what weren't good parts, and we were able to kind of determine, okay, well, if we were going to build a gun, we'd do it like this. So when DoubleStar was formed, it was 2000, and it is the combination of Jesse and Teresa Starnes. So there's two Starneses, DoubleStar.
Makes sense.
There it is. Right? A lot of people ask that, so I wanted to slide that in. But that's the son and the mother, because it's a family-owned business. Mm-hmm. Jack and Teresa are his mom and dad. But anyway, so once we started making guns, we wanted to make guns that were purpose-built, not necessarily. Well, these are on sale from here and these are on sale, because by the time we started making guns, we were buying parts directly from the manufacturer. That's the kind of numbers we were doing. Mm-hmm. So we knew who was making everything and who was making the good stuff and who was not making the good stuff. And so when we started rifle manufacturing, it made it easy for us to say, okay, well, what's the point of this gun? You know, mm-hmm. For example, the 3GR here is a 3-gun rifle. So we knew it had to be very accurate, had to be very durable, have a little bit of flash, you know. Yeah. With the red is new, but you know, you want ambi controls, because sometimes you're going to be shooting left-handed, sometimes you're going to be shooting right-handed. Good muzzle brake, and then a rifle stock to keep the recoil down as minimal as possible.
Yeah, and if you guys haven't seen the footage we have on 3GR, silky smooth shooter.
Right, and that's out of the box. That's how it comes. It's not something you're going to have to get and work on. It's already got the really good stuff in it.
And super soft. The foam on the stock here, I got to say, in Oregon, ends up kind of a wet sponge.
Yeah, that's true.
But it also doesn't get hot and doesn't get cold.
Right.
And that's what Tia appreciated when we were shooting out in the winter, was mm-hmm. that her face wasn't freezing to it. Yeah, and this thing, really, really accurate. So you get accuracy and smooth and quick handling.
And that's what we built it to do. It started out with, okay, you know, the original version of this had the Samson Evolution handguard, which is a great handguard. It was the first of this type of handguard, to where you could make, you know, you didn't need a rail on all four sides, all the way out to the end. You could put stuff where you wanted it. And then, of course, M-Lock and Keymod came along and changed the game up a little bit. And you know, Magpul really did everybody a favor with M-Lock and making that available. You know, they said, hey, you can use this, but you got to make it just like this so everything works together.
Yeah.
and that made it an open source for anybody that wanted to do it, which was really smart on their part. But it also helps out with keeping a spec.
Yeah.
Well, as you know, between AR-10s and AR-15s, AR-15s there's a spec. AR-10s, you might as well, you're just shooting and hoping that everything matches up.
Yeah.
The 2.0 is just an updated version of that. The first one had an 18-inch barrel. This one's got a 16-inch barrel. So it's the game.
Lighter, faster spin.
The game changed.
Yeah.
It's not, when we brought out the original, it was a little bit slower. The bay, it wasn't a bay game like it is now. So we adapted to this because now we've got more stages in bays, and plus, a 16-inch quality barrel, 500 yards is a long shot, but not unattainable. Because I've done it. I got to a match, the Blue Ridge match, which was Rock Castle. We had shots out to 550, and for whatever reason, I ended up taking a brand new 3GR 2.0 and said, I'll run it and give it away at the end. So I put my scope on it and I ran the entire match with it. I went 1 for 1 on the long range stages, and then gave the gun away, as a prize at the end, because we were sponsored. And it just really, it even surprised me, right? Because you think a brand new rifle, that kind of abuse. It didn't have not one hiccup, and it ran well.
And if you missed out on a detail there, Nick knows this stuff about these guns because he runs the guns.
That's it.
Like he's not an office figurehead who says, oh well, we can shave 0.2 of a point off on price by going with this part or that. No, Nick's out there 3-gunning.
I like to shoot. That's part of it, and I think if you get out of that and you become an office monument or whatever, you lose connection with the market, with the customer. I still answer the phone when people call and ask questions. I'm one of the few people here that answer them. Because I didn't mean that mean as in a few people will only answer, but people that know, that have that technical. I'm working on 19 years here, and I started out sweeping the floor, and I got to learn everything from the ground up, and I was very fortunate with that because I grew as the company grew, and it gave me a lot of opportunities. But yeah, getting out and shooting is very important to me. If I say my trigger is as good or better than anybody else's GI trigger on the market, it's because I've been to a demo day where my product was there, but other people's product was there too. So I get to go out and pull the trigger. Like range day, and you go out and you shoot everybody's stuff, and you're like, oh, well, I really like that, or mine's better than that. You never call out names because that's not right. But Mom taught me better.
And speaking of purpose built, another one that is a favorite of mine that we did Piece for Tactical Life on, the ARP7, named as such because it has
7-inch barrel.
7-inch barrel.
Right.
And the big timber break on here. AR pistols, they're everywhere, and they became the hotness because they're much more portable, and because of awesome braces.
The brace changed the pistol game. That's just all there is to it. This stuff has been available forever, but once they started doing pistol braces, it just totally re-energized that market.
And this brace is probably the sturdiest brace I'd say that I've encountered. This is called the Strong Arm. Comes on the ARP7, also available separately, and we put it on our little Scorpion and things like that. Sometimes, because you end up with a shorter gas system, these things have quite a bit of bark or quite a bit of bite on the shoulder, and that's not an issue with this gun. How'd you do that?
Well, part of it is the big timber brake. When we designed that, I wanted one that would slide up under the handguard a little bit because, man, I am not a fan of the gaps at the end of the muzzle. When it comes out like that, I just don't. Aesthetically, I'm a car guy too, so I like things to look good.
Yeah.
The lines are important to me. But that was part of it, and then of course keeping the muzzle down and keeping the sound forward. Are both things that are accomplished with the big timber brake. So it looks good and it works good.
You got the angles that match the handguard, but I was going to say on the shape and overall design of this, it's sort of a blast forwarder device and brake and comp, because thanks to these top angled cuts that are angled enough to give you a little bit of brake.
Right.
and vertical enough to give you comp, and it does a pretty good job of flash control too. I mean, sometimes it's fun to go out there and spray a bunch and like have big fireballs, and
I love a good fireball shoot.
yeah, and lose your eyebrows and everything.
Yeah,
but
it's fine, they grow back.
But if you want the gun to be practical, especially if it's going to be a home defense thing or a truck gun type thing, you want to still be able to see after you take the first shot. And this does a really good job of dissipating.
And if believe it or not, everything else in that gun are stock parts. There aren't any. There's no lightweight buffer. There's no lightweight spring or heavy buffer. Everything else internally there is the same thing you would get in our baseline carbine rifle. It's the same stuff. Bolt carrier, trigger group, all that. It's all the same. The only differences are the grip, of course, the brace, and the barrel assembly. But everything, upper, lower, everything else is the same.
Standard.
And that is why I think we have, when people get our stuff in their hands, like, oh wow, this is, and then you can grab one and go straight to the next one, and it's the same, and it's easy, and it's a transition that you don't have to think about.
Yeah, it feels and handles like a carbine, even though it's a lot.
Right.
I mean, it handles quicker than a carbine, but it does. While shooting it, you're not realizing. I'm sure some of the audience have experienced those pistols that punish you for your joy.
They're unruly.
Yeah. Yes, we will be lightweight and small, but it's also going to hurt and burn your hands.
Right.
Yeah, and then another thing I've come to really love about DoubleStar is having different styling cues.
Sure.
And I'm sure you guys have come to loathe me for saying this, but when I first reviewed the rifle in 10, I said, this is, if Batman had a rifle, this would be it, because the styling was just...
Listen, I had Batman underoos just like the rest of us. I was cool with it.
Because it's got cool edginess, like something that...
Right. It's very polarizing. Either people love it or they don't.
Yeah, and this could be pulled out of the Batmobile.
Oh, sure.
It's short enough to fit in there. This is a 308, by the way, folks. Love the styling, and including this extra meat on the magwell.
Well, you can't put a vert grip on it, right? So we sort of already did.
Here's a place that happens to have friction enhancing.
It's a good place to hold
grip stuff.
Yeah.
And AR10s are another thing that, really until just a few years ago, were not expected to work. Like people who wanted to have an AR10, they're like, okay,
I'm ready to make some modification.
Yeah. Both years out of the box ran great, and we've done both the rifle and the pistol version. Super controllable. Love the extra meat, because let's face it, if you're going with 308, you're just kind of in a meat eating kind of mood.
Sure.
Yeah.
So the purpose, like we said, everything's built to purpose. This is one of the only guns that was built because we can, because we thought it looked cool. But the practicality of it is, especially we're in Kentucky, and if you're a farmer and you've got coyotes and you're sitting in your tractor, you want something that reaches out or pokes a little harder than a 223. You can slide that down there beside your seat and take care of any land control problems you might have.
Well, I imagine
if you've got pigs or whatever the case is.
I imagine 308 on a coyote also saves you the trouble of cleanup.
Oh yeah, it's
a vaporizer.
Definitely gets the job done. He ain't getting up.
It's more than a timeout, right?
Right, for sure.
And so something that I even wasn't super aware of, you've got 30-something rifles on the website that you can browse through, but it's actually a whole lot more because stuff's built to order. Right.
So if somebody gets on our website and they say, man, I really like your Zero carbine, which is a fantastic rifle, a whole lot like the 3GR, same barrel, same handguard, different brake, different buttstock. We wanted something collapsible for this one. This is supposed to be a duty type rifle, but a little better than your average, carbine. But you say, well, I really wish that it would match my Vortex scope. So we go back and we holler at our guy and we say, hey man, we need a Zero that matches the color of the Vortex scope. And guess what? We can do that. We have several color options. Chris does a really good job I don't know if you saw the gun candy when it shot.
Yeah.
Right.
Beautiful.
So that's just wild looking. But he does a really good job, camo patterns and things like that. But we can also change the butt stock. Let's say you want a 0, but you want it with a regular carbine stock. We can do that. Save yourself a couple bucks. You know, the SOCOMs are kind of expensive.
Yeah.
We can switch that out. But the same, we can go the other way too. You can take a Star Car and put a SOCOM stock on. Or you can put the cloak handguard on, whatever you want to do. We try to be real easy to work with, and we try to get it to you, you know, in a reasonable amount of time, which hasn't been an issue until the last month or so.
Yeah.
And now it's a little crazy.
This is being filmed August 2020.
Right.
Those of you who survive will remember.
That's right. Well, and that's the thing. You know, we've been through. Well, myself, you know, I started in 2002, so I've been through probably, this makes the 4th or 5th really big rush to go from every day just kind of cruising along, you know, making parts, everybody's happy, getting stuff out on time, to holy crap, we want it all, and we want it all right now. And that's something that each time it's happened, we've been able to get better. But, you know, it's peaks and valleys, is what we say, because it's a lot of political driven sales.
Yeah.
And it's a shame, but hopefully, you know, people will realize once they get these guns in their hands, oh, well, I bought a DoubleStar, I didn't really know a lot about them. Oh, wow, this is really nice, you know, and, you know, everything's got a lifetime warranty. So if there is a problem, you can call and someone will answer the phone like a real person, and they will talk to you, and we'll get you taken care of. And that's that way with anything that we make. We take care of our customers. You know, every company says, "Oh, we're American made," and you know, accurate stuff, and blah 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 blah. Even family owned. You know, there's a lot of gun companies that are family owned.
Yeah,
and that's great. You know, obviously we support that, but it's the passion that we have, the drive to make sure that we're making a good part or a good gun, and the ability to call and talk to somebody from the company.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you call up and ask for the CEO, she's going to talk to you. Yeah, I said she. We have a lady CEO, we have a lady GM, and they do a fantastic job keeping us hooligans reined in and from doing some silly stuff.
Yeah, I could see it being easy to get distracted here.
Oh my gosh, we were like, well, you know, and that was something else I was telling you about, the families. We have several family we have 2 or 3 members of the family that work here, and they've been here 8 or 10 years because they care, they know we care, and it's just, it's a really nice thing to come in and work with people you enjoy being around.
And that's something that for me has been different. As you guys know, review all kinds of stuff, get lots of stuff coming in to try out, and usually it's a very corporate experience as far as how it gets handled.
Interaction.
And I think my first DoubleStar was 5, maybe 6 years ago, and from that point on, I felt connected. I felt like this was an extension of family and people I could talk to, and that's part of what inspired me to keep going. And then every time I've handled a DoubleStar, it's been another awesome gun. So it's like, well,
at least we're not just nice. Like if we were nice and made junk, it'd be harder to be our friends.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't have flown out to Kentucky.
Right.
Yeah.